In today's episode of Willful, we spoke with Nicolette Linton. Nikki is a former book and magazine editor turned landscape designer who traded in endless deliveries of swag for hauling 40-pound bags of topsoil. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Alison.
Thank you for joining us today at the Merchant Tavern.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's great to be here.
You went to Bangor University in Wales and did a degree in English literature. And I'm wondering, was landscape design even on your radar at that point?
Oh, I had no idea about it at all. I mean, before I went to university, I wanted to be a journalist. So, it was all about, I loved reading and I loved drawing as well. But, I ended up, I didn't really have enough talent as an artist to follow that thread down that path. But I loved to read, and it was English literature was a language always where my highest marks were at school. So I ended up going to do that for a degree, and then I ended up working in book publishing.
What was your click moment when you decided to switch your focus away from print media?
Well, it was odd because it wasn't even landscape design was not on my radar. I didn't really think about it existing. Well, I was on maternity leave and I wanted to just do something with the backyard. I wanted to go and do something with it. So I started looking at different places that offer design courses. And I saw that Ryerson, Raymond Chang Continuing Education School, had a landscape design course, and so I went. But to be able to do it, you had to do the first one, which is I think it was at that time, I think it was the graphic one, where you had to draw out the plans and learn how to draw, and also the design principles and things like that. So I said, okay, I'll do that, and it was great because I had been used to working in an office, and then suddenly I was at home with a baby who I'd waited a long, long time for, but still, it's a very, very different way of being,
Yes.
and I just needed to speak. I realized I'm probably an antisocial extrovert in that I need people to be able to feel energetic, but sometimes I need to go away and be myself. But so I felt like I needed to go and spend time with people and learn about how to do the garden. So I thought, okay, I'll go and do this course, and I was absolutely hooked. As soon as I started, I had a wonderful teacher, and I don't know, it just sort of snowballed from there, and suddenly I was doing one course after another, after over 2 years evening courses, and then I was just doing the occasional article just to pay for the courses.
Yes.
And at the end of it, I got the certificate, and so it wasn't really an aha landscape design moment. It was
You got more than just the certificate. If I can just interrupt you to say that you got top marks in your class, and your picture ended up being in the subway system of Toronto.
Yeah, that's kind of weird because I'd be sitting on the subway, sorry, and and then you'd realise the poster would be there, and people would be looking. It was kind of very odd. That was kind of odd.
Nice affirmation, though. Nikki, I first met you when we were both editors at Elle magazine. You were the first person to welcome me. I'm wondering what skills from that time in your life are serving you well now as a landscape designer.
I was thinking about that actually, and I realized, because I thought, wow, landscape design seems a very far stretch from being a magazine and book editor, and actually you end up doing the same things because you're interviewing people. Like first of all, let's say you're working for a magazine, you're interviewing people for your piece, or you're working with writers, you're collaborating with people. Like if you're working on a book with an author or an illustrator, you're collaborating with them. Well, when you're working with a client, you're interviewing them because you want to know how they live their lives, what they want from their garden, what their expectations are, if they've got any special memories or things where they've been traveling, where they want to include. And so really it's bringing all that in together and then collaborating over a design and a concept until you get to a point where you can create a final design. And then researching into plants. You're always researching when you're working on a magazine. You're doing research or books or whatever. And also when you're working with a client, because some people want native plants, and so suddenly you've got to, okay, they have a shady garden, but they want native plants. Ooh, that's kind of tricky. So then you're having to do a whole pile of research to try and get the best fit for their garden, for their situation.
When you're on the job, how would you describe your approach to problem solving?